When you're young, it feels like family is carved in stone. Parents, siblings, kids, cousins, you picture them as permanent fixtures in your life. You assume the love and connection will hold steady, unshaken, forever. But as the years go by, when you cross 60, 70, even 80, you begin to face a reality that no one truly warned you about. Family doesn't stay the same. It changes, sometimes in ways that leave you stunned. Roles shift, responsibilities flip, and the ties you once thought unbreakable can grow delicate, strained, or even hurtful. This isn't meant to scare you. It's meant to prepare you. Because how you respond makes all the difference. Today, I want to share 4 surprising truths about family life in later years. They can wound if you resist them, but if you understand them, accept them, and use them wisely, they can also set you free. So stay with me to the end, and if you find this message helpful, please like, share, and subscribe to support this channel and keep these life lessons alive. Truth 1. Money reveals the true face of family. If you really want to understand people, introduce money into the equation. Nothing exposes character faster, and in your later years when topics like wills, inheritances, and property start floating around, you begin to see sides of family members you never thought existed. It's one of the most painful discoveries aging brings. Money reveals the true face of family. Some children may love you sincerely, but for others, what you'll leave behind quietly becomes their main motivation. They might start showing up more often, not out of concern for your health, but to make sure they're in your good graces. They might speak with exaggerated sweetness, not because of genuine affection, but because they fear being left out of the will. And when the day finally comes to divide what you spent a lifetime working for, arguments break out, siblings clash, and relationships that once felt unshakable can collapse in an instant. This is why so many older parents end up disillusioned. They realize, sometimes too late, that in the eyes of certain relatives, their worth isn't measured by who they are, but by what they own. That realization can feel devastating, but it can also be clarifying. Because once you see the truth, you can act wisely. Protect yourself legally. Don't wait for the storm. Put your affairs in order early, while you are strong enough to make your own decisions without outside pressure. If you choose to give gifts while you are alive, do it in a way that doesn't leave you vulnerable or dependent. Your generosity should never cost you your dignity, and pay close attention. Notice how people treat you when there's no financial incentive. Do they call just to talk? Do they visit when there's nothing to gain? That's your test of loyalty. Fake kindness always reveals itself when the money dries up. True love, on the other hand, doesn't keep score. It shows up even when there's nothing on the table but you. Most importantly, remember this: your money was meant to serve your life, not sabotage your peace. Too many elders allow their savings, property, or investments to become bargaining chips in family drama. Don't let that be your story. Use what you've built to make your old age comfortable, to secure your independence, to bring yourself small joys. If you leave something behind, let it be a blessing, not a battlefield. Because in the end, your children, and their children, inherit more than material possessions. They inherit the example you set. They inherit the way you handled life, the way you protected yourself, and the way you valued dignity over manipulation. Money will always reveal the truth about others, but how you handle it reveals the truth about you. Truth 2. Love can fade and loyalties can shift. Of all the lessons age brings, this one may be the hardest to swallow. You spent decades sacrificing for your children and your family. You worked long hours, you gave up dreams, you carried burdens no one else even saw, all so the people you loved could thrive. Somewhere along the way, you believed love was eternal, that loyalty would never bend. But the truth is sobering. Love can fade and loyalties can shift. As your children grow, they build families of their own. They find spouses, careers, responsibilities, the gravitational pull of their lives moves elsewhere. At first, it's subtle. The phone calls stretch farther apart. The visits grow shorter. Holidays come and go, and suddenly the people who once clung to you for comfort now live in a universe where you are no longer at the center. Promises to come by soon stretch into months, sometimes even years. Does this always mean they love you less? Not necessarily, but it does mean their loyalty is divided. And in some cases, yes, it does mean the bond weakens. Some children distance themselves because selfishness wins out. Some relatives drift because they no longer see benefit in staying close. The painful truth is not every family tie survives the test of time. So what do you do with that knowledge? This is where wisdom matters. Instead of clutching desperately at love that has shifted away, you cultivate independence of the heart. You stop measuring your value by the number of calls you receive or the length of someone's visit. You begin creating a life that belongs fully to you. That life doesn't have to be grand. It can be woven from small routines that bring you quiet joy. A morning walk, a cup of coffee in the sun, tending to a few plants, volunteering at a local library, joining a class where people show up because they want to, not because they feel obligated. Surround yourself with those who choose you freely. That is where authentic connection lives. The tragedy of old age is sitting by the phone, waiting for love that may never arrive. The strength of old age is recognizing your worth is not tied to who remembers you. Your worth is determined by how you choose to live, how you decide to spend the days you still hold. Even if love fades, even if loyalties shift, peace comes when you stop chasing what has already left and start embracing what remains. At this stage, dignity lies in building a life that reflects your spirit, not your disappointments. And freedom comes in realizing you don't need to be someone's priority to live a life worth cherishing. If you find this content inspiring and it motivates you to take action, please comment 9. If not, comment 0. Your feedback means a lot to us. Thank you for your valuable time. Truth 3. Respect is not automatic. You must redefine your value. Once upon a time, respect came automatically with age. You didn't have to prove it. If you were the elder, people stood when you entered the room. Voices dropped in your presence. Decisions paused until you spoke. Families leaned on your guidance like it was law, because your years carried weight no one dared question. But those days, for the most part, are gone. The hard truth is this: respect is no longer automatic. If you want it, you must redefine your value. As you grow older, the world tends to see you differently. You're not the one bringing home the paycheck anymore. You're not the one with the loudest voice at the table. In a culture obsessed with youth, speed, and technology, your wisdom can feel invisible if you let it. This is why so many parents and grandparents feel ignored when they speak. Their words are brushed aside, their experiences dismissed as old-fashioned. But here's the reality. True respect in your later years doesn't come from demanding it. It comes from how you carry yourself. Respect isn't earned through complaining, begging, or insisting people listen to their elders. It's earned by living in a way that leaves no doubt about your dignity. Keep your mind sharp. Stay informed about the world around you, even if it changes faster than you'd like. Read, learn, and ask questions. Speak calmly with authority born from experience, not desperation. When someone disrespects you, set boundaries firmly. Make it clear that your years are not something to dismiss. They are something to honor. And remember this: respect is not about what you once did decades ago. It's about what you embody now. If you carry yourself with bitterness, people may pity you, but they will not respect you. If you carry yourself with quiet confidence, with wisdom, with strength that doesn't need to shout, even those who once overlooked you will be forced to see you differently. Old age is not decline. It is mastery. You have endured storms your children cannot yet imagine. You have carried burdens they may never understand. That alone makes your presence valuable. Do not shrink yourself by chasing approval or clinging to the past. Redefine your worth in the present. Respect is no longer handed to you simply because of your years. But that doesn't mean it's lost. It means you get to shape it, own it, and demand it through the life you live right now. Carry yourself as a person whose story is still unfolding, whose wisdom still matters, and whose dignity cannot be ignored. In doing so, you don't just reclaim respect. You set the example for what aging with strength truly looks like. Truth 4. Silence becomes your superpower. In your younger years, you argued. You defended yourself. You explained your choices, justified your actions, and fought tooth and nail for every inch of respect. You believed that raising your voice meant raising your value, that the louder you spoke, the more people would understand. But growing older has a way of teaching you a shocking truth. Silence becomes your greatest superpower. Family drama never truly ends. There will always be misunderstandings. Children, even grown ones, may dismiss you or show disrespect. Relatives will gossip, twist your words, or try to drag you into the same old battles that have been simmering for decades. When you were younger, you might have wasted nights trying to prove them wrong. You might have spent energy explaining yourself to people who didn't care to listen. But with age comes wisdom, and with wisdom comes this realization. Peace is worth more than being right. Silence does not mean surrender. It means mastery. It means recognizing that your energy is precious, and not every battle deserves your blood pressure, your sleep, or your sanity. Silence protects your health, shields your mind, and steadies your heart. It tells your children, your siblings, and even your critics that you do not need to justify your life to anyone. Your choices stand on their own. Your years already speak louder than words ever could. When you choose silence, you are not defeated. You are above the noise. You are stepping out of the mud so you don't get dirty with those who thrive in it. That is not weakness. That is wisdom. The wisdom of knowing that your peace is priceless, and no argument, no insult, no petty drama is worth losing it. You do not need to explain yourself to children who refuse to listen. You do not need to spar with siblings who live for conflict. You do not need to justify your happiness to people who prefer misery. Silence is not emptiness. It is dignity. It is the shield that keeps you from being dragged into battles that have no winners. And so, when disrespect comes, when betrayal shows up at your door, when family or friends try to bait you into proving your worth, remember this truth. Your silence is not because you cannot fight. It is because you no longer need to. You have already lived enough, endured enough, and proven enough. Silence in old age is power. It is freedom. It is the ultimate declaration that you no longer need validation from anyone else because you already know your value. And that quiet certainty, stronger than any argument, is what makes silence your true superpower. Truth 5. Health is your real wealth. There comes a moment in life when the things you once thought were priceless, money, property, possessions, suddenly lose their shine. They still matter, of course, but not in the same way. Because here's the truth. If your body refuses to cooperate, all the money in the world can't buy you the freedom to enjoy it. Health becomes the true currency of independence. It's the foundation that either opens the door to a full life or quietly locks it. Think about it. What good is the vacation fund if your knees ache so badly you can't walk the boardwalk? What use is the biggest house on the block if you're too exhausted to move from one room to another? Even the joy of sitting at a family dinner fades if every bite reminds you of acid reflux, or if every laugh is shadowed by chronic pain. The simplest pleasures, walking in the park, eating your favorite meal, climbing into bed without pain, become treasures you can't afford to lose. This is why, in your later years, guarding your health must become your highest priority. Not as a punishment, not as a burden, but as an act of self-respect. Because while you may not control how many years you have left, you absolutely can influence the quality of those years. Guard it fiercely through habits. Move your body daily. It doesn't have to be a marathon. It can be a slow walk, a bit of stretching, even light gardening. What matters is consistency. Rest matters too. Quality sleep repairs what the day wears down. Too many people treat rest as optional, as though it's a luxury. But at this stage of life, rest is medicine. And let's talk about discipline. It's easy to shrug off small things, the extra slice of cake, skipping the checkup, ignoring the doctor's advice. But each little choice stacks up until one day you realize you've traded your independence for indulgence. Discipline doesn't mean living like a monk. It means respecting your body enough to say, I want tomorrow to feel better, not worse. I once met a man in his late 80s who walked 2 miles every morning. Nothing flashy, just steady. He told me, I don't walk to stay young, I walk so I don't feel old. His secret wasn't genetics or luck or some miracle drug. It was his daily choice to invest in the one thing that truly pays dividends, his health. So remember this, money can buy comfort, but it can't buy vitality. Property can give you shelter, but it can't carry you down the sidewalk. Possessions can decorate your life, but they can't breathe for you, or digest for you, or move your muscles when you need them. Health is the real wealth. Guard it with habits, rest, and discipline. Because every step you protect today is a step you'll still be able to take tomorrow. Truth 6. Time is more precious than things. There's a truth that sneaks up on you as the years stack higher. Things can be replaced, but time cannot. Objects break. Money rises and falls. Possessions can be bought, sold, or traded. But once a moment slips by, it's gone forever. No amount of wealth, no amount of bargaining, no amount of pleading can buy it back. And that's the shocking reality. Time is the most fragile, most precious resource you'll ever hold. When you're younger, you treat time like it's endless. You waste hours on arguments, let days vanish into distractions, or spend years trying to impress people who don't matter. You tell yourself, there's always tomorrow. But after 70, 80, or beyond, you begin to see tomorrow differently. You recognize that every hour is no longer just another tick on the clock. It's a page in the final chapters of your story. And here's where wisdom comes in. The hours you waste on bitterness, grudges, or pointless obligations are hours you'll never reclaim. Every time you replay an old insult, you've sacrificed a moment that could have been filled with laughter. Every time you agree to an obligation that drains you, you've traded energy you could have spent on joy. That's why choosing how you spend your time becomes the most powerful decision of your later years. More powerful than money. More powerful than possessions. Because what you choose today shapes not only how you feel, but also how you'll remember these days when you look back. I once spoke to a woman in her late 70s who said, I gave the best years of my life to people who didn't value me. But these years, these are mine. She no longer went to family gatherings where she felt invisible. She no longer entertained gossip. She cut away every obligation that didn't nourish her spirit. Instead, she filled her days with music, painting, long walks, and small moments that made her smile. Her house was modest, her bank account average, but her time, priceless. And that's the lesson. Time is not about quantity, it's about quality. 10 minutes of real joy outweighs an hour of misery. A single afternoon spent in peace beats a whole week wasted in resentment. When you protect your time, you protect your life itself. So here's the challenge. Guard your hours like you'd guard a treasure chest. Ask yourself before every commitment, is this worth a piece of my life? If the answer is no, let it go. If the answer is yes, embrace it fully, without guilt. Because at the end, your possessions will be passed down, your money will be divided, but your time, that belongs only to you. And how you choose to spend it now will decide whether your final chapters are filled with regret or with the quiet satisfaction of knowing you lived well. Time is more precious than things. Treat it like the treasure it is. Truth. 7. Not everyone will understand you, and that's okay. When you're young, you spend so much energy trying to be understood. You explain yourself to parents, defend yourself to peers, and shape your choices around what others expect. You chase approval as though it's the ticket to belonging. But with age comes a surprising shift. You begin to realize that not everyone will understand your choices, your silence, your boundaries, and that's perfectly okay. The truth is, people see life through their own lenses. Some will never grasp why you say no to a family gathering that leaves you drained. Some won't understand why you'd rather sit quietly with a book than spend hours in noisy conversation. Others may question why you protect your routines, why you guard your health, or why you choose solitude over company. Their confusion doesn't mean you're wrong. It simply means your path isn't theirs. This realization is liberating, but only if you embrace it. Too many older adults exhaust themselves trying to explain decisions that don't need explaining. They justify their boundaries, defend their peace, and try to convince others that their choices are valid. But here's the secret. You don't need universal approval. You need inner peace. Approval fades. Peace sustains. I remember meeting a gentleman in his late 70s who said, "For most of my life, I lived by other people's expectations. Then one morning I woke up and realized half of them were gone, and I had wasted decades trying to impress ghosts." His words carried a weight only experience could forge. He had learned that understanding isn't a prerequisite for living authentically. When you stop demanding that others understand you, you gain freedom. Freedom to rest when you're tired. Freedom to decline invitations that don't serve you. Freedom to live a life that feels right in your own skin. And ironically, when you stop chasing understanding, you often gain more respect. People may not fully agree with you, but they'll see your quiet confidence, and confidence is its own explanation. So how do you practice this truth? By reminding yourself that your worth isn't measured by how many people approve of your life. Your worth is measured by how aligned you feel with your own values. If your decision brings peace, it's the right one. If your silence protects your dignity, it's powerful. If your boundaries keep you safe, they are valid, even if no one else applauds. Not everyone will understand you, and that's okay. You're not here to be universally accepted. You're here to live fully, peacefully, and authentically. And the ones who truly love you may not always understand, but they'll respect you anyway. Because at this stage of life, the goal isn't to be understood by everyone, it's to be at peace with yourself. And once you find that peace, no misunderstanding can take it away. Truth. 8. Joy is found in simplicity. As you grow older, something remarkable happens. You realize happiness doesn't need to come wrapped in grandeur. When you were younger, joy might have been tied to promotions, big purchases, or once-in-a-lifetime trips. But in your later years, you discover a shocking truth. Joy is not in the extraordinary, but in the ordinary. It hides in the corners of your everyday life, waiting for you to slow down long enough to notice it. Happiness rarely comes from grand achievements once you pass 70. Instead, it often arrives in small, almost invisible packages. A warm cup of tea on a cool morning. The soft glow of sunrise spilling across your kitchen table. The smile of a stranger in the grocery store. The gentle sound of rain tapping on the window while you sit wrapped in a blanket. These tiny blessings, so easy to overlook, can fill your heart more than any medal, paycheck, or trophy ever did. The world tries to convince us that joy requires extravagance. Commercials scream about luxury vacations, expensive cars, and bucket lists. But here's the wisdom age reveals. Those things may thrill you for a moment, but they rarely sustain you. What sustains you are the little rituals that make your days feel alive. a short walk among blooming flowers, a favorite song that stirs a memory, a handwritten note from someone who cares. I once met a woman in her 80s who told me, "Every morning I look at the birds on my feeder, and that's enough. If nothing else happens that day, I've already been blessed." She didn't speak of awards or wealth. She spoke of birds, simple, fleeting, ordinary. And yet her joy radiated like sunlight. She had discovered what many spend their whole lives missing: the power of simplicity. But here's the challenge. You must allow yourself to notice. It's easy to get trapped in old disappointments or lost in worries about the future. If you let your mind race endlessly, you'll miss the beauty right in front of you. True joy is not something you chase. It's something you welcome. It comes quietly, softly, and only to those who are willing to be present. So, how do you practice it? Start small. Each day, choose one simple thing to savor. Maybe it's the taste of your morning coffee, the colors of the sunset, or the sound of laughter from the neighbor's kids playing outside. Don't rush past it. Stop, breathe, and claim it as your moment of joy. The truth is, simplicity doesn't mean lack. It means clarity. It means stripping away the noise until you can feel the richness of what's been around you all along. And when you embrace that, life, no matter how ordinary it seems, becomes extraordinary. In the end, joy isn't about doing more, having more, or chasing more. Joy is found in simplicity, and if you let it, simplicity will give you a happiness deeper and steadier than anything else ever could. When you step back and look at all these truths together, a pattern begins to reveal itself. Life after 70 isn't about clinging to the past or chasing what's already slipped through your fingers. It's about protecting what truly matters: your health, your peace, your dignity, your joy, and letting go of the rest. It's about refusing to waste your days in places that dim your spirit, or on people who don't respect your worth. It's about honoring your body, not for vanity, but for freedom. It's about choosing silence when conflict only steals your peace. It's about guarding your time as the treasure it is, and no longer begging for understanding from those who can't or won't give it. Most of all, it's about rediscovering the extraordinary beauty hidden inside the ordinary. The morning cup of tea, the sunlight through the window, the simple act of waking up and realizing you still have another chance to live this day well. These are not small things. They are the essence of life itself. So, as you close this chapter with me today, carry one thought with you. Your story isn't finished yet. The pages ahead are still blank, waiting for your hand. Fill them with peace, with courage, with quiet victories. Let them be marked not by regret, but by a deep, steady joy. And if these words stirred something in you, don't let the moment pass. Share it with someone who needs reminding. Subscribe so you don't miss the truths still to come. And like this message, not for me, but as a quiet promise to yourself that you're still here, still learning, still writing. The mystery of tomorrow belongs to those who choose to show up today.